Welcome, everyone. This is Glenda Dawson, and I have LD here with me. And you
I'm
are,
back.
unfortunately, yes, he's back. He's no longer on a healing mission. He healed whoever he needed to heal and came back.
I have exceeded my healing capacity. I'm as big a heel as it gets.
Anyway,
Vince McMahon's on the phone.
uh, so thank you for being here at Glenda's Dragon's Den. And as you know, we are on Roku TV, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, and many other streaming platforms. Each and every week, every Wednesday night. And we look forward to having you. And thank you for watching the shows and commenting and joining the chat. Please do that.
What is
If you have any
Powerpost the
questions.
redheaded stepchild here?
No, I didn't name anybody.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. So we have a great guest who's returning, and he has exciting news to tell the world about him. But let's find out more about him. For those that didn't catch any of the other show, he's going to tell us a little more so you can get to know him really good. Robbie Thomas, welcome.
Thank you for having me back. I'm
Thank
glad
you
you're
for being
back.
had.
Yeah, you kicked me off.
We're starting. Here we go.
And we're off. And some of us are more off than others.
Right. It's only the beginning.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So, just give a little bit of your background so the audience could get to know you and take it from there.
Absolutely. I'm a father, husband, garbage night. I do take garbage out. Don't do laundry very often. I do try to help in that regard. Dishes, yes. Just an average Joe. Now on the professional side, take the average Joe and I have 10 bodies of work of books I've written. I have four others I've co-contributed to. I've written screenplays, developed TV series, which one I'm in development right at present. One I'm actually in as a producer, which is going to be fantastic to talk about because it's the perfect time of year right now, Halloween. It's called Halloween Obsessed.
Oh,
Yeah, it has great cast members. Aside, just take me out of the picture. I mean, these people just are phenomenal. Michael Gross from Family Ties, LA Law, Tremors. You have Dee Wallace, who was in Cujo, Critters, Halloween. Oh my goodness, a whole bunch of different ET, and she's involved in this series. Two episodes are now airing on Amazon Video Prime,
nice.
TV, and if you went to YouTube, you can get a glare at them for free and take a boo at those. Halloween Obsessed. So the first one's called Misconception of Witches. Second one is Haunted Attractions. The third and fourth one will be coming out shortly. The director is making big strides in getting those out. People love it. It's award-winning already, 2 episodes, and I'm happy. I was just, oh my gosh, thrilled to be even asked to be part of it.
Does Michael Gross finally answer the question, what do we do, baby, without us? Sorry.
It's okay. Oh, there goes the seriousness of the show, folks.
Yeah, it's out. It's out. It's out.
Well, it is a paranormal question.
See you tomorrow. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I lost my train of thought there now. Yeah, so to be equated with some of those astute individuals has really made me feel good. I'm just happy to be part of it. I'm thrilled. And other than that, as you read today in a certain post, can't give a lot away about it, but a lot of people have heard me over the years about Psychic Profiler, the series I created back in 2006 and is registered with the Writers Guild in America. So I filmed with America's Most Wanted film crew. Oh my goodness, various law agencies from, oh my goodness, CIA, FBI, sheriff departments, um, U.S. Marshals. These are different cases I've worked with them. And then come in the Canadian side, there's the RCMP and different people here. Worked with Garda over in Ireland. Um, different associations of agencies over there in Australia and what have you. Actually put an individual who was an American in prison in Australia for 7 years. That was a tough case, but we got him. Sexual abuse in children.
Oh.
Yeah, and here's the kicker. The paranormal always has to have this flaw about them where they attract, the unnecessary, and he was one of the unnecessary that was involved in the paranormal. Had a show, guys, very, very big show, and we ended up cracking that case and putting him away. So that's what I do. I'm a profiler, a seer, a people like to call it psychic. I like to call it a walking spiritual person, spirit walker. And I'm indigenous, as you can see. And so I stay true to my roots and who I am. Now, as far as the actual business of the day, we were talking, I'm involved with another huge conglomerate in Canada via America as well. They already have number one shows on television. They have one show that's in 48 countries. That's still number one out there. I can't get very much more out than that. That's pretty much it. But we're discussing the formatting, the way that it should be seen for me to present, because we went through the nightmare over all these years. I've sat with A&E, Oprah. Again, filmed with America's Most Wanted in 2011. Oh my gosh, like Dog the Bounty Hunter, we signed contracts twice during COVID, before COVID. So it comes down to this. I'm the person who goes out there, and a lot of people have read this. I'm gonna toot my own horn here. A lot of people have read this, right? So based on factual events, with I show back behind the scene testimonials, law enforcement reports, emails, text messages, photographs, things that the public's not privy to, that we solve these cases. And they wanted to format a show based on that. So you can't have a guy like me going around live on TV, or even if it's filmed, and say, Joe Blow did this is how it's done, and the family being there, and then putting a scare into the family. So we have to curb that. There's nothing on TV like it. I've sat with all these different people, like I've said, and they've all said the same thing. There's nothing on TV like it. But we don't want to go down that same road as psychic detectives, cold case files, that type of thing. We want to bring it where it's up a level, but right in your face, and here it is, and we're going to do and solve these cases as per 1, 2, 3, and so on. That's the hard part to get around, is legalities, right? So that's what we're talking. That's where we are right now. We brought up Jacob Wetterling case tonight, and she says, the one director, can't believe how you nailed everything in that case, and they're airing that on the 13th on television, the Jacob Wetterling case. And I said, yeah, I think it was 4 or 5 murder cases, missing people together on a live show. I'm going to give him a kudos here. Dave Schrader's Darkness Radio, whatever it was called back then. And I was presented these cases only an hour before the show. So I only had photographs, names, and that was it. So I'm channeling, going on with Dave as he's sitting there, and I'm handing over information. And the law enforcement were tuned in, or actually were coming in to ask questions. And that's how the program went. And it was Kaylee Anthony. I mentioned OC Park, the Orange County Park. Stay true to the brother, because the brother has something to do with her, which we all know now in that case and what have you. There's a lot of pertinent information. So transcribe that to TV, and it's going to be hard to sit there and say to a mom. And we went over an example when the mom asked me, "Is my boy dead?" And I said, "Yes." And I can't sugarcoat things, because when you ask and you want the truth, you have to speak the truth. So when I spoke it, she screamed. She was really upset. Nobody wants to see that on TV. I don't care who you are. You want the drama. This isn't for you. We want to be more compassionate for the families. So we're going to try to format some type of way of how I can curb that and do it in a roundabout way, hold back certain tough evidence just for law enforcement, aside from family. So that's where we are, without me giving you the whole gambit of what the true processes are.
Well, Robbie, if you ever need that bloated body in the swamp, call me.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh Lord. Oh Lord.
I understand that as Glenda was honing her chops with this stuff, you guys also had some conversations, or am I?
I took one of Robbie's classes.
How was that?
How was that? Oh,
very good.
And so, if Robbie,
it helped a lot, because it showed me how to approach the authorities without making myself look like I'm the one who did it.
right. Or
Right there is the
yeah.
because up to that point I used to see a lot and know a lot, and then I was like, yeah, but if I go and I know all these details and I tell them, oh, I'm going to be going to prison, and I'm an ex-paralegal, so I know how that works. Yeah,
Right.
I want to help, but okay,
Yeah.
for those of you that are aspiring, if he gives another one of these courses,
Yeah. I've been asked so many times, to continue doing them. Here's the problem. There's only one of me, and there's only so much of my day I can do. And as you know, when you're dealing with programming, you spend most of your day trying to fathom ideas of how you can, and we just went through what I said,
right.
to come to the proper procedures and stuff. And then there's phone calls, and then there's this or that, and then I'm dealing with, can you help me find my husband, or can you help me find my baby? And that's all day long too. So yeah, there's just, there's not enough of me to go around. I would like to, but maybe in the future sometime, do something like that.
well, that's why I'm saying if the course comes up, jump on it, because
Yeah.
it's not something that's canned, and it's not something that's accessible, and you've got the top of the food chain. So if it's available, Glenda's already said, it helped her to do the work that she's done, and we need as many people doing this work as we can, with the rate of women and children that are disappearing in this country. So it'd be nice to put a stop to that, or at least put the fear in the heart of somebody that's thinking about it.
Absolutely.
They can get away with it.
And who brought me to that point was a detective I did a case with, a very high profile case. She was called Mother by Day, Hooker by Night, Paige Bergfeld in Colorado. Now, that case set precedence, because not only was she pregnant when she got murdered, but the judge deemed that as a human being, so it was a double homicide, which was fantastic. The case got overturned. I was by my phone, and he was calling me, and he was going, "Oh, it got overturned," or no, there was a technicality in the thing, so they're going to redo it. I was like, "Oh my gosh, we had everything to a T, right down." So they redid it a day or two later. They started going through the formality again, and back in the trial, and sure enough, guilty, which was fantastic. Yeah, he's one of the cast members of the show. They've interviewed all my law enforcement already that I want on the show. They've lengthily interviews with them, so they know what they're getting. Upfront, straight nose, hard nose law enforcement. Yeah, so I'm excited. I'm just hoping that we get this on the road and get it done. I'm getting up in age, as you can tell, and yeah, and I told my wife I wanted. Oh my gosh, I wanted to retire before COVID, and it was funny because the phone rang. It was the producers, Citizens Pictures. That's who it was. Who do dives, diners, and dines. And one of the actual producers, directors turned into be the CEO of the company. She called me. She's the vice president, and she said she was the one who did Dog and Beth. And she says to me, "Don't retire. We want it. We want to have you." So I had all those lovely cast members of mine go through all those interviews back then too, and I'm sure they're getting tired of being interviewed by all these people in TV land. um because I got told, they're going, "We don't want to do this anymore." So yeah, it was phenomenal. So we signed the contracts, we got everything, we got all the cases ready to go the following week to a T. Like, it was 1 week later COVID hit, and me being over here in Canada and America, the border shut down, couldn't get over there, so everything got shelved. And then we got through the busting of COVID. I re-signed again, but with Dog the Bounty Hunters producers. So, and unbeknownst to them, I was talking to both of them, but they didn't know. You just don't tell who you're talking to, because they won't give you a contract, right? So I signed with them, and then again we slowed down, and then we had the writer's strike and everything that passed not too long ago, and then it was shelved. So okay, so now I'm still open again. So I'm kind of talking with them because my contract kind of evaporated, but I'm still in good terms with them, and I'm speaking to a new huge conglomerate again. And boy, that takes me back to like when I was speaking with Oprah and A&E again, and all those. It all boils down to, guys, to the fact that, and I said to them, I said, "I don't do scripted." And they go, "I know we don't want to do scripted TV, but there's some parts you have to, as we know, you have to make TV." And that is the tough part for me. I mean, you'll get enough of me going out in the field, hunting people down, going right up. And in America, the law enforcement, which is, I find fantastic, a great tool, is to use somebody like me to actually question the suspects and being able to put them on the spot, because they're thinking, "How the hell do you know this stuff?" And then, like, we got a confession from people before in Kentucky, and it was phenomenal. Um, yeah, so that's what we're dealing with. And the scripted part of it is, we've seen it on TV. We've seen all those other psychic detective shows out there. It was a good branding at the time, but we've come from that to a whole new now. And I'm sure in 5 years, 10 years down the road, maybe even sooner, we'll come to another whole new that's going to be totally different than we're seeing here. And we thought this was the magic ticket now, and it'll be the magic ticket when somebody else comes up with something much more elaborate then. So, it's ever evolving. It's a crazy world we live in.
Yeah, I continually like to refer to it as the business of show.
Yes. Yes. That's a good way of saying it.
Because that kind of puts it in perspective for me.
Yeah.
With all of this, first question might go to someone's mind, well, how do you decompress? And you do that because you're an artist.
Yes. Yes. And you're absolutely right, because I either on my Harley and I'm riding and I got wind in my face, and you just seem to let go of everything, and it's just the road, wind, and you. And I picked the longest roads and country roads and just go. It's either that or I'm praying a lot. I pray a lot to Creator. And then again, there's my other my wife. I mean, I vent to her. She's so grounded and straightforward. It's keeps me on that level. You know what I mean? So it's not like I'm drifting too far, or I'm feeling sorry for myself, or I'm feeling really bad for somebody. I used to say you have to turn cold in order to do something like this, because if you don't turn cold to the subject that you're at present, then you're going to get sucked in and you're not going to be good to anybody. So you have to be the guy on the outside looking in, but know what you're doing. I think I even said that in the classes with Glenda. You know, you have to be able to be versatile in that way. So yeah,
You have
decompress.
to stay in the big picture. You can't get pulled down in the minutia of it.
Right. You can't. And once you know, if you do, and there's a lot of people I know that have, then you second guess, and then you're questioning your ethics, your morality, you're questioning everything, and then you lose interest, and then pretty soon you don't care about anything, and it's just a steep hill. So you got to stay. You have to stay at that level keel, right?
You have to put your ego into conduit level.
Right. No ego whatsoever. I mean, without ego, you know, don't get me wrong here. Without ego, you can't function. So you need a little bit of that to keep you ahead of yourself as well. Because good, bad, we all have it in us. And you got to have that functionality. And if you can be able to take that for the moment and use that as a good, and transform it to a purpose, you're doing right. But if you take that and you go the wrong direction, your head's inflated, you're not good to anybody.
But when you take the ego and you put it into that place of, I'm a tool of the creator, this is not my ability, I'm a conduit.
Right.
That's kind of how I think you stay balanced with it and have that ability to separate from the details and the horror and the weightiness of it.
100%.
You're doing the creator's service here in the third dimension.
That's right. If we don't take that into what you say into perspective, then we lose total rationale of who we are. And as a human being, we tend to have that compassion for everybody, no matter who you are. You'll have that compassion, knowing that it wasn't from us, it was from God, creator. And that's where it all comes from. Now, a lot of people think that it comes from the starlight, or it comes from, you know, the plants over there, or whatever. You know, God's everything, creator's everything. So the essence of everything around us is all living and from creator. We have to really put into perspective, though, anybody who's trying to do this or doing this, and if you feel frustrated, just remember, you just sit back and you know, and just, like you said, focus and become that oneness with the world, the universe, and God, creator. And no, it's not you. It doesn't come from you. It was given to you. So using it in that perspective.
And you also fish.
Lots of fishing.
Lots of fishing.
Yes.
And you also create pieces of art.
Yes. You know, here's the funny thing about this. I was on a motorcycle in 2017. I was thrown off my motorcycle. I hit my head on the pavement. I don't know how many times. And each time I rolled over, my head was hitting and was getting concussed. I kept saying, thank you. I was thanking God, because I was seeing the sky and I knew I was alive. So in hospital and finally getting out, coming home, I said to my wife, and I could never draw a stick man or anything whatsoever, right? Nothing. I couldn't even carve, nothing like that. I said to her, and my arms are all bandaged up like this, like, I think I could carve. It just hit me, right? And she goes, you're crazy. I said, no, I can. And then I went out to the store and I bought all these major machines. I loaded up the garage. It became my shop, and I started carving, and I've made, oh my gosh, I mean, I've made walking sticks for people around the world. I've made oh my gosh, a great knife for one of the SEALs who took out Osama bin Laden, and he was on the cover of Newsweek magazine in America. A Canadian Olympic swimming team, the women, they're hunters. I made them, and it was all been word of mouth. And so then all of a sudden the museum started calling me and saying, look at the pieces you're creating. And, you know, you're carving exact animal replicas on on the handles, and you're putting all these different intricate parts together and making the blades and putting it all in this. They're really great looking knife builds. And I said, yeah. And then the sheaths, start carving the sheaths and putting all the sheaths and making them all myself. And I never took a lesson. And yeah, they've been going all over. It's crazy. But yeah, that's how it all started.
And you have a sample, I think, handy to show us?
Absolutely. Let me get up and show you a couple here. All right. All right. Yeah, I got some right here for you. All right, so there's the cam right there. So there's the turtle on the sheath. It's burnished. It's all nicely burnished right down. Solid 10-ounce leather, really good leather. And then you have, of course, the eagle or hawk, red-tailed hawk, right? All the detail to it on here. And I'll pop it open. If I can take it out. There we go. And there's your blade, Damascus.
Look at that.
You got blue Estonia elm. You got 5,000-year-old black bog oak from Ukraine. And you got brass spacers. And then, of course, you got your carved in with him, right? So, and that's a good size hunting knife, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like it's got a good balance too.
Oh, it does. Good balance and weight. Again, here's another one. It's got deer lace hanging down. It's got wolves carved in here with a mountain scene in the back.
Nice.
And you got wolves right there, right?
Ooh.
Right? Wolves on the side, all down that way. There's the other side of him, right? And then when you take the blade out, again, I think this is another Damascus with the same layout of blue Estonia and
Nice.
log oak, right? 300
That's a nice
layers.
solid help too.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And again, nice size. If a guy's hunting a deer or if he's hunting moose or whatever, it's a good skinner.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've got a link up to one of the museums too, and people can reach out to you as well. Like you said, it's word of mouth. If somebody wanted to commission something, I know it would take a while for you to get to it, but have you ever done any of that?
Actually, like the one museum in Niagara Falls bought out straight out 4 knives, went to them. One in Alaska wants to buy 7 knives. Ottawa in Orleans, that's by Ottawa, the suburb of Ottawa, the Métis Cultural Center. They want to commission. They'll be the first one I've ever said, I will send them up there and commission it to that.
How do I know that?
Yeah, but here we are. I mean, like, do I let all these go and then I got these? They take a week to 2 weeks to make a knife, right? People think, oh, you're done in 5 minutes and you're done. No, it takes a long time to do this. So I don't feel like taking something that's $1,200, $1,500 American and sending it out to somebody, and then I got a fellow who says I'll buy it right away, and then I'm stuck with that in their shop. You know what I mean? I'm not a business where they're making 10 knives an hour, pumping them out. You know what I mean? And just one guy doing this, and it takes that time. So commission, I don't know about that. It's like, do I commission myself to go out and do, something different? It's very difficult to even fathom that, but I'm going to give it a go, see what happens.
And we'd also probably have to speak to you as well.
Yes, by phone. I talk to everybody. I make sure I assure everybody.
But I mean, the concept would have to speak to you.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, like the gentleman for I'll use his first name, Mike. The SEAL who took out Osama bin Laden. The insignia of the SEALs is the Punisher. So I thought, okay, that's a great idea. I'll carve the Punisher on the handle, which I did. Then I thought, well, I have Harley valve stem covers that have the Punisher on them. And I said, I'm going to put them in the ends of the handle so he can see that the Punisher's here and the Punisher's here, and it's on top of on handle. Then I carved the Punisher in the sheath with a big, huge phoenix rising on the front part, and with all the flames, and then I put deer lace and what have you. So yeah, it was really outstanding for him because that was his insignia.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds beautiful. Sounds beautiful.
Thank you.
So you're the current Renaissance man.
Yeah, like I said, I do dishes. I do. Yeah.
You do ceilings? You got any chapels you're working on? Or?
Yeah, right. Yeah, you see my paintings.
And the beauty of it is we have a very similar dark sense of humor.
Right, right.
You've seen some of my comments on your posts.
Yes.
And I'm behaving.
You are. Yeah. Somewhat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got to balance it between my reputation to uphold and hers.
Yeah.
You talk about a sword of Damocles.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, you're doing a good job. As you know, I haven't blocked you yet, so you're good. She liked that one.
Threat noted.
Yeah, right. Threat noted.
We have Brenda Helen, who said that that's amazing and very impressive work of art. So.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
So
Yeah, you know, it's yeah, it's amazing because I'll sit down, not sketch anything out, and I'll take a piece of moose, elk, deer, elk, caribou. I like working with caribou. So again, getting into the density of the different antlers, and you know, after you carve them, the colors that come through. I mean, I'm sitting there and I get amazed at it myself just by looking at the colors come through when you start carving the layers through, and then you see what you've transformed into a wolf, an eagle. I haven't carved moose. I've carved all kinds of different things, and it's amazing. Medicine wheels on there. I just like it. I just get lost. It's like it takes me from the moment of forget about people dying and that moment of tragedy, and then just become again like going on the Harley, going for a ride, just losing it, just forgetting about it, and just being. And I like looking at the trees, the birds. I go riding with my buddy, and it's like I don't know if he looks back at me, but I'm always got my head circling around just looking at them, right? He must think I'm a nut looking at the birds and things, but I do. And yeah, it's that moment, you get for yourself. And then I could spend the whole day in the back shop there carving and get lost and come out and not know that it's nighttime and look what I've done. And I do it again the next day and the next day and the next day. Yeah, it's very appeasing to your soul. It truly is.
And to be clear, these are animals that have been harvested for food. You're not just going after the antlers. The whole animal is being used.
No, I chase them in the woods and I tackle them and I rip their things off.
Oh, you're practicing animal husbandry.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, they've been harvested. I love moose meat. A lot of people say, "Oh my gosh, yeah," but I grew up on it. Moose meat, deer, elk. It is very good. It's more natural, more good. I think it's better for you. Being indigenous, that's what we ate, right? Fish.
Like people that aren't Inuit don't understand. Blubber and other things keep you going through the winter.
Yes. I have a friend who's Inuit up north in Alaska, and he hunts seal and whale blubber. He pickles whale blubber, and I would never eat that, but apparently it's really good.
Well, you get hungry enough up there in the winter,
Yeah, you'll eat it. That's right.
You'll definitely whatever's there.
Absolutely.
But it's a cultural thing.
It is. I mean, you got people who like McDonald's and you got people who like real meat. You know what I mean? Like it's what's true. I mean, it's what we grow up on. Even like anything in society, if you don't know it, you don't try it. How do you know you don't like it, right?
Right.
Right.
Very true. So, just so people get a little more of your background, how did this whole working with police
How
officers,
did I get crazy?
yeah, how did it actually take effect? How did it start?
Oh my
What
God.
made you go in and actually take those first steps?
Okay. Um, you want to go back to like when I was a kid?
Whenever you started working with police.
Oh, okay. There. We'll go. Okay, that's a good one. I was hired and fired the first day of my police career. Yeah. People go, what? Yeah. Uh, they were taking 3 auxiliaries. I was 17 at the time. I looked like I was 21 and did the physical. I did the psychological. I did all the interviews, made it past all that, right to the chief's office and right here in my hometown, Chief Cook. And I remember sitting down in the chair facing his desk, and there was 2 auxiliaries to the left of me, separate from where I was. And you hear this big burly man coming up the hallway, talking, laughing, giggling. And then he comes in, he shakes their hands, just looks at me and sits down, and he's got paperwork in front of him. He goes, "Son," he goes, it was a question before that. I can't remember what it was, but he goes, "Son, how old are you?" And I said, "Oh," and at the moment I didn't care because I was proud as a peacock, and all I had in my head was, "I'm a cop. I'm a cop. I'm going home and tell my dad I'm a cop." Um, yeah, and sure enough, I said, "Chief, I'm 17," and then they started laughing, and he was laughing, and he goes, "I'm sorry, I don't know how you made it past everything, but you said you did wonderful, and don't let this burst your bubble." And he goes, "You're going to make a great cop one day," and he goes, "Just not today." And so that was,
You
oh,
didn't have enough rings on the tree.
right, right. I didn't have enough rings. So he told me don't give up, and I never did. So being hired and fired in the same day, I had to wait till I was like 20. And I went in when I was 20 in Peel Region Police in near Toronto. Again, right to the final interviews, made it, got hired on. I come home, I was supposed to give away where we lived because we have to move to the other city. And there was a lady yelling, back of my house, "Accident, accident." So you can imagine just coming off all that interviewing and all that weekend of police work and whatever. And then all of a sudden, I'm hopping the fence and she's pointing down the way. It was townhouses that ran this way and like an alcove and went out to the street. So I'm busting it. I'm running out there looking, people hurt. Something's gone wrong here. And I get out to the roadway, which would be Indian Road, where I live, and there's no accident. And I look to my left, and there's a fella, and he's in the screen door, and he's waving me over. So I run over to him, and then there's a lady running around the table screaming. And then I look to my right, and there's a guy holding a doorknob, and he goes, "Come here." So I run over to him, and I still got in my mindset, first responder, right? Because you take the CPR, you take all those courses and whatever. And then I'm thinking, okay, I'm looking for blood because the lady prior just said there's an accident. So I'm looking on the floor. The guy grabs my shoulder, opens the door, and shoves me in and shuts the door. Now I'm inside this little bathroom size of, it was like a bath and a half. So you had your toilet, your little sink, and maybe a little closet over here. That was it, right? And I look up and there's a man in the bathroom and he's looking right at me. The lips are kind of blue and he's not there. So I go to start first responder, CPR. I'm checking for vitals and I go to get him down and I hear, "Let me go." So it never dawned on me at that moment because I could hear and see and what have you,
Right.
that at that moment, this guy's talking to me. I'm just thinking, no, whatever that was, right? So I check for vitals again. I go to do CPR and really loud, "Let me go." And I took a step back and I'm looking at him and I can see he's gone and he's telling me it's over. So I back out that door. Now remember, there was 2 people in the kitchen. As soon as I opened that door, it was like everybody and their aunt and the whole block were standing in that kitchen, and all eyes are focused on me. And by then, my father made it around and come through that screen door area, and it was at that precise moment I come out he comes in and he goes, well, is everything okay? And I looked at him and I went like this, and everybody screamed. So then it turns out it was my sister's best friend's father. Yeah, uncanny, right? And the coroner, when I went to talk to the coroner, said I wouldn't have been able to save him because he had a massive coronary, a tear in his heart.
Right.
Went to the funeral. I sat there. I thought really long and hard, as it was my sister's best friend's. I'm watching everybody torn apart about this, and I felt bad. I thought I could have tried harder, and there was nothing you could do. Right? You can't stop the inevitable. And then I get home and I made the decision. I call up the precinct in Peel and I said, I quit. So you got hire, fire, me getting hired and quitting. And they said, you can't quit. We spent money on you to become one of the auxiliaries or police officers here.
Right.
And they had me under fire for a long time. And they were just questioning me and angrily and whatever. And I was talking to the people who hired me down there. They said, okay, we're going to send a film crew to come see you. It was a captain and a sergeant from the Chatham Police Force and some film crew. They come into the home. And now I'm getting peppered by these guys, various different questions, until they got to the part was why I quit. And I started to explain to them, well, he told me he was dead. And I know I have a different purpose. Their jaws hit the floor. They were just like, what? I said, hey, he told me he was dead. And then they wrapped it all up and they took off. And the part of that is that I'm now, and they were looking for a distressed police officer because the movie was a working tool for police officers, EMTs, and firefighters who were under duress. And they wanted to see the tears. I had no tears. So I became part of that working tool. And that was back, oh my gosh, 1989, 90, and somewhere around that area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, about 89-ish. And so I just knew. I told myself I'm going a different route. So my very first case was 1990, and it was in my hometown. I sat 2 feet from the murderer, and he was right on to me, and he told me, stand up, and he felt me. He goes, "Are you hot?" He goes, "Are you effing hot?" And I didn't understand because I'm still, focused on him and why I see a black shroud around this guy. He's so bad, and I'm trying to figure him out. And he's feeling me for a wire, and he pushes me down. And he looked like mini sawed-off Eddie Van Halen. I'm not kidding you, to a T. The long hair, 5 foot nothing. And this guy, sits me down. He goes, "You want to know? We were ripping off a car stereo across the way, and then Thomas Cook, who saran wrapped his girlfriend afterwards and watched her die. He went to prison for murder after this murder. He said they went across the way to rip off the cubicle, and he said we're popping them like this, and he was smiling, right? And he goes, and he was hopping like a rabbit. And so they killed a young boy who moved from Quebec to Sarnia, going to school to earn a few bucks. And that was my first case. And I've always spoke of this and told people in many shows, don't think you're psychic and don't think you put yourself on the front lines like I did. That was the most stupidest move ever in my life. I only work through law enforcement when they call me. Via family call me through law enforcement or law enforcement themselves. Don't stick yourself in somebody's place thinking you're going to be okay, because he told me he would kill me. Sure enough, he hadn't, thank God. And you don't want to be that statistic either. So don't play hero, in other words. Right.
Have to just be very careful.
Absolutely.
Because you could be the next victim.
That's right. That's right.
And they will do whatever they need to do to take care of their own selves.
Oh, definitely. I mean, we did a case in Kentucky, and there was 3 of them. All the one guy, suspect A, wanted to do was shoot me. That's all he wanted to do. So worked with Detective DeLay, get down there, and we went to the boardroom. We started talking. He goes, how are we going to get to this? Because I already know how they were murdered, murder weapon, precisely who did what and everything. And I said, get the weakest link out of the 3, and we'll profile him before, during, and after this murder. Give me Bristol board. So they got Bristol board and markers, and I'm writing everything down like full. So Bobby, suspect C, decides he will meet with us. So we meet in the end of his driveway, just me and Andy in the SUV. So good cop, bad cop. Or sorry, good cop, bad cop. I got I got the recorder in my hand. I got it under his chin, and Andy's peppering him with all the, bad cop stuff and really laying into him, and he's not budging, right? He's not budging. And he started saying lines like Mr. FBI guy to me. And the only guy who called me Mr. FBI guy was suspect A, because he wanted me to come up his driveway so he could shoot me and being there and what have you. So Andy goes, the hell with this. He goes into the SUV, opens the door, shuts the door, puts the Bristol board on the back of the door, still got the recorder under his chin. And Andy goes, read that. That's what he said about you. And the kid's sitting there and he's reading it. And he went white. And he starts shaking his head like this. And then I'm waiting for him to verbalize. We need verbiage.
Right.
And yeah, we need that, right? So Andy goes, what do you think? What do you think? And so he goes, Rob, ask him questions. And I wasn't supposed to ask anything. I was just supposed to be the guy there with the recorder.
Right.
So I said to him, and I got into his mindset, right? And I said, I know you didn't mean it. I know you were there. You were a part of it. You weren't the one who did the initiation of doing the murders. And he's like this, going harder and harder. And I'm waiting for this kid to bust open and just say, yes, just yes. And then all of a sudden he goes, I'll tell you everything. I don't want to go to jail for the rest of my life. And he just blurted it all out, how it all happened. Exactly. It was on the Bristol board. It was amazing. And then suspect A, who wanted to kill me and Andy, gave a deathbed confession after getting medication from his doctor. And he also told another witness exactly what happened after we got the confession. We're getting down with these guys. And then he killed himself. He committed suicide. Yeah. So, and then the second suspect, B, he died. So, I mean, now we're down to one guy who's always been in and out of prison. And I'm hoping that karma takes care of that fella too.
There you go.
Yep.
At least he actually did confess, which is good.
Yeah.
Then, you
can close it.
You can kind of close it.
Yeah, absolutely. And everybody, again, I'm going to do a shameful plug. That whole entire case is right in here. It has Detective DeLay's report. It has photos. It has, oh my gosh, everything detailed from time of to time end, everything that's in here. And most of the cases we spoke of are in here. Yeah, it's something that I think, and I really feel the world should see these things, because then they'll get a better gist of there are other people out there helping and doing this behind the scenes. And it's just not law enforcement. And don't just blame law enforcement for not working, because they're working 24/7 on these things. They don't just let this thing stack up and shelve them. They really truly work. They work any lead they have. And here's something I will tell people too. And I think I said this in the classes I did. If you call up and say, I know something, and say that lead to them, and they get 500 other people saying things to them, they have to follow all those leads to expunge them all to make sure that they're either part of the case or not part of the case. Right. So people don't realize that. And when we talked earlier about saying, when there's a murder that happens, there's like 500 psychics out there running to the phone calling, I know this. And then they do that. Well, they're not really basing, and some of it does go to G for garbage, but a lot of it they have to follow, and it becomes dead ends, dead end.
Yep. It's that's the thing. It's you have to know exactly when to do it and what type of backup information you can give them.
Right. It's like I'll give you examples again. I'm in Canada. A lot of the times I get the phone calls from the detectives. And they'll want me to fax them, like you said, right? The information that has to be pertinent. I will fax them info that's only they know. And then that way they say, okay, you're on the plane to Ronald Reagan Airport, or you're on the plane to Philadelphia. You're on the plane here. We're flying in now. We're doing it now. And I will put down stuff like the murderer's name. Like you look in the book, there's a case in here again, in Kentucky, another one, where I faxed them information to ABC News, NBC News, the liaison in Kentucky. It was the day before Canada Day. And also the detective and Detective Bland. And all that information went down there. I mentioned the guy's name. I put the man's name. You can see it's in the book. It's on my website too. You can see. And I drew what the boy showed me. As quick as he showed me,
Right.
the way the man, the monster looked. And through the eyes of a 4-year-old, I was doing that and getting other things like Papa John's Stadium and lights off. And if you stood on the murderer's front porch and looked through the clearing, right on his front, Papa John's Stadium was right there. And when I said there was orange flags, well, they were doing construction right in front of his house. And when I said that he was a repeat offender of 2 other boys, well, this guy was a repeat offender of 2 other boys sexually abusing them. He ended up drowning little Caesar in his bathtub and killing him. They arrested Cecil, and that's the name I gave him, Cecil. I put it down to the head and went there. So that's the exact precise information they look for. They don't want to see, oh, I see a tree. I see a red light. They want precise, like name, location. It's all about that type of thing. Then they know you're genuine, and they tell you to come up, right? Ronald Reagan Airport, we brought that up. I got asked about a CIA agent's daughter went missing, and the FBI already found the car in Virginia washed, which means it was bleached for DNA, right? Get rid of all that stuff. So they say, Homer says to me on the phone, that's the detective, he goes, tell me stuff. And I faxed him a bunch of stuff and the road, my drawings, precisely things that were on that road for the whole stretch of that 1/4 mile. And then the next thing I know, I get a phone call and he goes, you're on the next plane to Ronald Reagan Airport. Got 2 tickets for you and your wife. Get up here. So we flew up to Ronald Reagan Airport, went down there, went in through the process of getting in there, checked out, whatever. And he goes, suspect A, suspect B, victim. And he goes, here's a map of Maryland and Virginia. And he goes, find her. And that was all I got. And they escorted me back to the hotel room. I sat there, and the name of the road kept sticking in my head. And I'm looking at that map, and I didn't have to look long. My eyes just zeroed right in on this huge area. And I circled it, threw the map down. My wife said, you're not done. I said, yeah, I'm done. She goes, Homer's going to be mad. I said, no, I'm done. So the next day we get into the office again, go through all the formalities and everything, and I hand it to Homer. Homer didn't say boo. He just said, get in my car, and we're going for a ride. So we went for a ride. The CIA agent was sitting right over there. So I leave with Homer. It was her daughter that went missing. So we're driving around. He's going, is this it? We're driving all over Maryland. Is this it? Is this it? And I'm looking out the window. So I know he's being a smart ass to me. So I'll just reflect that in, good notation to him. And I'm looking out the window and I said, well, this is a nice drive, Homer. And he stops the car. He goes, get out. And there's a little more verbiage than that. He goes, get out. And he's got his arms crossed and he goes, I don't believe in you. And he goes, but I do. And he goes, I don't know how. And he says, I've been looking at that road you circled on the map for 2 years. And he goes, I can't believe you knew her phone pinged off Andrews Air Force Base tower and the county tower over. He goes, nobody would know that kind of stuff. And then so we went in there and we found a bag. We brought the cadaver dogs in. We found a bag with flip phones, tools. He was missing tools from his truck, flip flops, a blouse, and a necklace. And then I said she was wrapped up in a red carpet blanket 100 feet from the roadway. So we were searching, and it was raining. It was getting into the rainy season. He says, we'll continue this next year because the streams were all filling up, and he was digging, was still filling up. And he said he didn't finish it, right? So, all right. Then I get a call 1 year to the day, the very day, and it's the CIA agent's, the CIA agent, right? She says, You found her. You found her. You were right. She was wrapped in a red blanket or a carpet. They found her 100 feet from the road. And we're going to have to wait now because they got to do dental because she's all decayed, right? Really bad. I said, okay, so wait, I think 3 weeks, 4 weeks went by, and I got a phone call, and she goes, oh my gosh, Robbie, you found the bag with all the stuff in it, and you got all that, but you found somebody else's baby that was murdered, and you solved that case. And it was like, and then, oh yeah, I did 3 cases, by the way, that time when we were down there. They wanted me to stay down there and live to keep doing cases for them. But Leisha, my wife, she's like 5 foot nothing strong, and she's when they said, can we keep him 1 more week? She says, hell no, I got kids at home. We're going home. Yeah. I mean, like I said, there's only one of me, and there's only so much I can do, right? So, and I hope like there's more people out there who aren't afraid,
Right.
and who know that they're genuine, who can sit there and give past information in any viable means that's proper, that they'll know that you're genuine and you can, help out.
And to that,
Yeah.
we only have an hour, and it's gone. Is there anything you want to wrap up real quick that we haven't touched on?
Yeah. Outside of myself, just everybody say lots of prayers for the world, what's going on over in Ukraine and everywhere else, and all the bad things that are happening for people who are homeless, and the drug epidemic and everything. We all got to come together and start, being human again.
Very true.
Just remember, they're people, and just like you, and it could happen to you. So just, pull together. That's the main thing I care about.
I shake my head at people in the paranormal and know that it's bigger than they are, that it's bigger than who has the most toys when they die.
Right.
And they're still focused in that little thing.
Yeah.
Robbie, thank you for being here. Stick around when we sign off, if you would, for a minute.
Thank you.
And Glenda, you got 2.5 minutes to take us home.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Robbie. Always it's great to talk to you, and I truly enjoyed that class, and I am very blessed that I was able to take it that time.
And what have you done with that?
I have helped people.
Okay, so you didn't just, sit there and go, oh, that's nice. I'm glad I took that class.
And thank you to the audience for joining us and participating on the chat. We even have Brenda. There we go. There she goes. And Ashley also commenting on the amazing stuff that you do. Thank you, everyone. As always, Robbie, thank you.
Next time I want to have a premiere of this show.
Yeah.
Or at least a tease.
A tease.
Something.
We love
Give me
you.
something.
We love you all. Many blessings. As always, stay healthy, stay good. Well, not too good, but stay good. And be blessed.